Welcome to DCH Live. I'm very happy to have you guys, and thank you very much for coming today. Now, what are we going to do today? So, timetable. First of all, I'm gonna introduce what DCH Live is to you, and the second content is the presentation made by Hugh about the basics of C. That's the second. And what comes third? That's a live coding of C by Reik. So he's gonna show us what we can do with C. And then we have Q&A, question and answers. So please write down your questions. If you have, you can ask any question at the end of the show. So then finally ending. That's like that. We're gonna go through the schedule like this today. Okay. So first of all, what is DCH Live? So what is DCH Live? So DCH Live is an live event where engineers in the earth can share their knowledge, experiences, and their preferred technologies. And also, I want to help engineers to share their excitement about the technologies and tools and programming languages and so on. So this is basically for the older engineer coming from all over the world and enjoy the tech. And this live show hopefully brings you new discovery and hopefully you can learn something new. This is the aim of the DCH Live. Okay, so today's speakers are Hugh and Reik. So Hugh, first of all, Hugh is a student who's learning informatics and at National Institute of Technology, Kurume College. And Reik is a graduate of University of California, Irvine, aka UCI. So he's already graduate and he's working as an engineer, but he knows he has a few projects, maybe multiple projects of C. So I called him today. So, okay, first Hugh, how are you? How are you today?
I'm good. Can you hear me?
Great, we hear you.
Okay.
Okay, how's your cats doing today?
I just took her outside with my sister.
Okay.
So the cat's not gonna bother this presentation today.
So last night on the meeting, the cats got on the keyboard, and then they bothered Hugh a lot. So now you did a major. Okay, you set a major against cats. We need majors against the cat always to prevent the accident. Thank you, Hugh. Thank you. Good.
Yep.
All right.
No problem.
Yep. And Reik, how are you today, Reik?
I'm doing pretty good. How are you doing?
That's awesome.
Feeling sleepy still?
Gradually I feel better because the sun, I can see the sun now. So yeah, that's good. So okay, then let's get started with DCH Live with the basics of C by Hugh Anderson. Okay, now Hugh, please share your screen. We'll see your screen now. Okay. Now wait a moment, please. I'm gonna start checking your screen. And Okay. Ooh. Now, there we go. Okay, hopefully everyone can see the screen shared by Hugh. But if you have any trouble, like you can't see the screen, please let us know immediately. Okay? So, okay, then Hugh, please start your presentation. Let's enjoy.
Okay, so this will be the agenda today. These things, what is C, basic output, what is a compiler, data types and variables, and basic input, how to make your own function, 2 different kinds of variables. So let's start with what is C. Okay, so C was developed in 1972 by Dennis Ritchie to write an operating system. And C is based on B language, which is surprising. And the major languages like C++, Java, Python are all based on C. And however, you may think that where is C actually being used? Well, C, for example, is used in embedded systems such as appliances and vehicles and cameras, or it's even used as firmware programming for network devices. So in the next slide, I'll be showing you the simplest source code of C language. So it will be like this. So the output will be hello world, and the code, so up here we have include stdio.h, which stands for standard input output header. So you always need this sentence with when if you're dealing with inputs and outputs. And down here we have int main, which is a main function, and inside of main function we have this printf. So this is a print function that outputs the content inside this 2 quotes. So in this case it will be hello world, and in the end we have a return 0 to end the program. So but to run C code, you need a thing called compiler. So what is a compiler? It's another program that converts a particular programming language to machine language. So to make it simple, so for example, we have, let's say we have a source code named sample.c. A compiler converts this source code into machine code and makes an object file named sample.o. And okay, but we don't need to think about compilers because we're using online compilers. So these are like the 3 famous online compilers for C. So there's Coding Ground, Repellent, and Pisa.io. But to make it simple, these have lots of functions and it's kind of complex. So to make it simple, we're using this onlinegdp.com. And I just uploaded the link on the event on Discord. So you can just go to Discord server and press this event and click this onlinegdp.com. Okay, you'll see this kind of screen. You should see this kind of screen. No, this kind of screen. So and if you run this, you'll get hello world. Okay, so let's program. from the next slide. Okay, data types and variables. So up here we have include, and you always need this. We have a main function. Inside of main function, we have 3 variables, in x, double y, and char c. So we each initialize it with 10, 5.5, and the character a. And so how to output a variable in C. So this is how you output. You need something called format specifier. So the format specifier is this thing, %d and %lf and %c. So what this does is it's just inserts the variable after the comma. So in this case, it'll be x equals, and x is going to come in here, so it'll be x equals 10. So it will print out x equals 10, and down here we have y equals %lf, and which inserts y. So y is 5.5, so it will output y equals 5.5000, blah blah blah. And the last thing is %c. So this inserts a character type of variable. So this is like just a simple you can just see what the format specifier is in this picture, and int will be %d, or it can be %i, either or. You can choose it. The %d is commonly used, so I'll be using %d today. And for character type, it's %c, and a float is %f, and the double is %lf. Okay. In the next slide here, we have basic input. So we have include and the main function, and we have a variable named age. And so let's just run this code real quick. So I press this, it's waiting for my input. So age equals, I'm 18, so I'll just type 18. 18, and I'll just press enter, and you'll get you are 18. So this is how you use scanf. You have a format specifier inside the quotes, and it's kind of opposite from printf. So this %d, it specifies your input type. So in this case, it will be integer. So an integer type of number goes in this variable after the comma and the ampersand. So what does this ampersand do? This ampersand is showing the address of age. So it's just a address identifier. I don't know, but it just shows the address of age. And it's printing out you are %d and comma age. So age is going to go in %d. So it prints out you are 20. Okay, and here we're making functions. So it's to make a function, you need a return type in the front, and a function name. And in the brackets, you need a parameter list. And inside this bracket, you need a body. So let's see an example. We have an add function and a main function here. But to use this add function inside of main function, you need this declaration code, prototype declaration. Sorry. And so what this does is it's just showing the computer I'm going to use this add function. So it's just reminding the computer it has an add function inside the program. But you don't need the sentence if you bring this function up here and erase this. So, okay, let's just nope. Just run this code and we bring this up here instead of this declaration. So just comment it out, and if I run this, nope, it's not working for some reason.
Add
Sorry.
the sign before include.
Oh yeah. Need to add this. Okay, good. Sorry. So if I run this, yeah, it will print out C equals A plus B equals 9. So let's see how this program works. This program works by declaring A equals 4 and B equals 5 in the main function, and it's printing it's printing out C equals A plus B equals %D. So this is a format specifier. So this number, some kind of number, is going to come in here, and this number will be, it's giving this add function 4 and 5. So it goes, the 4 and 5 goes in here and returns A plus B equals 9. So it's returning 9 here. So the C equals A plus B equals 9. The output will be 9 here. Okay, and the last thing I want to show you is the difference of local variables and global variables. So we have include and void func. So this is just prototype declaration for function named func. And we have int gvar, which is declaring gvar, and this is called a global variable. So this global variable, it's declared outside of main function or any functions, and you can use it in any functions. But now look at this. This is a local variable we were using. So the name is int lvar. So this is a local variable, and this gvar is a global variable. So if you declare inside of some kind of function, it's just using, it can only be using that function. So let's just see what the code is. So it's printing out gvar equals %d. So in the first place we have 2 for gvar and 3 for lvar. So it's printing out 2 and 3. And now we're calling a function here. And if I call the function, it goes. So this function named func is called. And gvar is going to be modified with 100. And int lvar is going to be modified with 100. So it should print out gvar equals 100 and lvar equals 100 as well. But in this case, lvar is just a local variable. So this lvar, this local variable, and this local variable is different. So it won't change the values. So if it's a global variable, it can be changed to 100, but in a local variable, it's a different function, so it will be a different variable and it won't be changed. So this 3 will remain as a 3. Okay, and we'll go into a summary. That's just going to review real quick. So we did this. We just learned data types and variables. So how to use this is you use how to output these variables. You use a format specifier here, and integer type will be %d, and a double type will be %lf, the character type will be %c. And you can actually use so if I run this, it will be 10 5.5a, but you can cast as well. So casting is so let's say I want to cast y, I want to cast double into integer. So let's say that y equals %d. So it should be an integer type here, but y is a double type. So we're going to cast by putting brackets int and y here. So if I run this, it will be 5 and 5.5 and a. So 5.5 is cast to 5 because it changed into int. And there's another thing that I want to show you. It's a const. So this acts like final in Java. So what this does is it protects from changing this variable. So if I put this const in here, this y doesn't change from 5.5. So this variable is going to be changed as a value. So for example, if I change this y into like 6.9, and if I run this, it will be an error. And that's it for the variable. And we did basic inputs. So basic inputs, to get an input from the keyboard, you need to use the scan function, and this format specifier specifies your input type. So in this case, it will be an integer type. You have to type integer in, and this will goes into the address of age variable. And the next thing we did is we learned about making functions. So to use a function, you need this declaration called prototype declaration to show this main function. I'm going to use this function, so don't forget it. And it's used like this. I think that will be easy for you guys to understand, so we'll just go to the next review. And we did global variables and local variables here. And that's it for my slide. So I will go to Reik. Is that okay?
I guess before we begin, if anyone had any questions that they were waiting to ask,
Oh yeah.
to them now.
Do you have any questions?
Oh, just incidentally, this also includes you, Kofi. If you have any questions, feel free to ask them as well.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
I have a question. Then Hugh, can you share screen?
Sure.
Your screen too. Can you stream your screen? Because
Okay.
I was just wondering. Okay, switch to Hugh's screen, and I don't know, maybe the second or third from the end.
Okay, so
Do you see output?
this.
Gvol. Which slide explain Gvol and G?
Oh, this the last slide.
Oh yeah,
Is it this thing?
I think so. That's the slide I have a question on. So
Okay.
you see, first of all you declare the G var on the third line, and
Yeah, here.
GVER, right? And while the output it said GVAL, is it just typo?
Oh yeah. Yeah, this is this should be O R instead of L.
Okay.
So let's just
Okay, so just
check
we
it out.
just have to replace the L with Earl.
Yeah.
So you meant
So,
Earl.
yeah,
Okay.
here. It's so here.
Okay.
Can you see this?
Got it.
I'm sorry.
Thank you. Yeah, no, it's okay. I could no, it's not a serious problem, but for maybe for those who might get confused with it, I just mentioned.
Yeah. Okay. Are there any other questions?
No questions. Yamako or Suhara? No questions?
Okay.
Oh, wait.
Okay, I have the questions.
Okay, Yamako.
Thank you. So yeah, I guess in that case we can just keep going. So what we have planned for this one, we're already kind of drawing close to the end of our time here. But what we had an idea for was to just create some small program to kind of help you guys get used to seeing how this is made. With what we know so far, because I'm going to try to stick to either what you showed us today or to basic programming concepts that you probably have seen in other languages. We might try to create something that's interesting. So for example, one idea that I had, let's create a calculator. And this calculator is going to, let's say on purpose here. Our calculator is going to calculate the difference, or sorry, convert, I should say instead, is going to convert Fahrenheit to the Celsius. There we go. Okay. So this one is a pretty simple example. All we need to know is just basically these formulas to get Fahrenheit. All you need to know is that it's the degrees in Celsius times 9/5. We're going to use that conversion into decimal as 1.8 plus 32. Yeah. And then for Celsius, it's going to be degrees in Fahrenheit minus that 32 times 5/9. Okay, so what I think I want to do is I want to show off a couple of different examples, or I want to show off a couple of different concepts that you went over. So one thing that I'd like to do is to create a function for each of these conversions. I'll call it convert FUC, and this is going to be our function that we'll use to convert from Fahrenheit to Celsius. We'll just pass in the Fahrenheit, and we're doing this as a forward declaration so that the compiler knows that there is a function that exists when we use it in our main. I'm not sure why it's not auto-coloring this. Like everything else, it's kind of
Reik,
annoying. Okay.
can I ask you some questions that are not related to coding?
Oh yeah. Well, because this is gonna take me a bit to code up. So while I'm doing this, then sure.
I would like to know what Fahrenheit and what's Celsius, and this is about unit of temperature, right?
Yes, this is a unit of temperature. So I'm just going for some random, simple, real-world application thing that isn't going to need anything complicated to use.
Okay.
So we aren't going to have to do anything besides use a couple of variables and then do some basic calculations on them. We're going to use these functions that I've made to allow us to calculate it and then return it and then print it out, basically.
Okay, thank you. Okay, now
Sorry, I should have given a bit more context.
No problem. Like I thought like Celsius is at 0 degree and then it equals to 32 Fahrenheit. Is that correct? Because that's why you use 32 on line 5th line plus 32.
Yeah. So these here, I just wrote them up here for easy convenience, but I'm going to put them down here properly. These are the formulas for converting in between these two. And I mean, what I was trying to think of when I came up examples for these would be stuff that would come up in a, for example, internationally minded community, such as the one that we're trying to create here. Things such as, I wanted to do a time zone calculator actually, but that one would get a little bit more complicated. So we'll stick to something simple like temperature conversion. Anyway, so it's just going to be Celsius is equal to Fahrenheit minus 32 times. I do want this to come out as a double. I'm actually really glad that you showed that when you were presenting, Hugh. I'm going to cast this result as a double so that it knows when it multiplies it to make it a double. Otherwise, it's very possible that the compiler will complain that I'm trying to return an int when I said I would try to return a double. Here I'll just use 1.8. And what we will do is we'll just say printf enter and then actually before that, what I would like to do is say please enter. Ooh, I guess I will have to use one thing that is outside of what you showed. The thing that I'm going to show is an if statement, an if else statement specifically. Yeah. So if anyone has any questions about that, then please do let me know. We're just going to ask the user to tell us first whether the number that we're going to put in is in Fahrenheit or in Celsius. We are going to say and then please enter a number of 3. We're going to grab that as well. And then based on our result, we're going to say if letter is equal to F.
Can we see the executed results so far before writing if statement?
Sure. Nothing's going to pop up though. Or I mean, I guess we're going to see. Oops.
Can you possibly explain what the error code says? And
well, okay. So first of all, this is not an error. Okay, so this is an error because it's in red. This is something that the compiler is going to say no. The program's just not going to run. Stop, and it will not compile your program. Warnings are not going to make it fail to compile. Instead, it's the compiler saying, are you sure you want to be doing this? Because typically when you're doing this thing, you would do it a different way. So it thinks that you're wrong about something, and it's recommending that you go and fix it before doing it. In this case, I believe the reason is because I left out the ampersand. So let's see, if I just type F, and then let's say I did 32.4, let's do something more interesting. 5, yeah, so it's just going to take in these two inputs, but because I'm not outputting anything related to that, then
so it's working.
There's nothing else
it's working so far.
Yeah, so it's although actually that was a good point that Koki did just now, pointing out that I should try to run it. It's very good to test that things work before getting too complicated. It's a thing, spots like this, that I would probably save and try to compile, at least to make sure that no errors like that missing semicolon earlier happen. So thank you for that, Koki.
No problem. We can't avoid error. It's impossible, right? We live with errors.
It's just something that's gonna happen. So here, all I'm going to do is I'm going to compare the letter that we got from the user with F, because that's what I asked for up here. And if that's the case, then that means the person is typing in Fahrenheit, and they want it converted to Celsius. So that means that we're going to use this function down here. Convert F to C, and we are going to pass it our degrees. If that's not the case, we're going to use this else statement, which says that if this condition that's in here, failed, I want you to do something else. In which case, actually, let's do it like this. We're going to do else if. I'll ask for a different condition instead and say C. If you put it C, that means that you want it. You gave me Celsius, and you want me to convert it to Fahrenheit. Otherwise, I'm going to assume that you messed up somehow. You typed it in lowercase, or you typed in a different letter. So I'm going to give out some error message. And then here we're going to return. As an incident, the reason that we're returning 0 at the end of all of our programs is because 0 indicates success. The program exited cleanly, there was no issues. If you return anything other than 0, it's used to indicate that something went wrong. So here I'm just going to return 1 to indicate that my program exited because of an error. At this point, though, we'll assume that we did something right, and we'll say no, that's okay, just for simplicity's sake. Oh, I missed something. I wonder if any of you caught it. I didn't have a result. All of these things were returning a result, but I wasn't catching it and using it in my main. I will do that here. And then that looks good. So let's just see what it does. So let's say we're going to do Celsius. We're going to do 100 degrees. What does that look like in Fahrenheit? It's 212 degrees in Fahrenheit. And then now let's try a number in Fahrenheit. Let's say 85 degrees. And 85 degrees. Oh. It appears I have a bug. I wonder if it's because of my conversion. Try to remove this real quick and see if we get something different. No, still the same thing. Oof. I appear to have coded myself into a corner. I think that there's something wrong with this, but I'm not 100% sure.
Doesn't some variable hold its value?
Yeah, so actually what I want to do here is I'm going to debug. And I want to see what's in these values at the point that I get there. So I'm going to do F, I'm going to put in 85. Here when it's at this line, I want to make sure that's Fahrenheit. Oh, it's actually not showing me Fahrenheit. Okay, interesting. Celsius is getting 0, so this value is incorrect. I wonder in that case. Let me stop. Debug again. Okay, it does work. Okay, this might just be me trying to mess with formulas that I haven't used in years, honestly. Or it could be the fact that the compiler is putting it in or is calculating this in a different order than I wanted. So that's fine.
Okay.
Alright. We must stop debugging.
But at least from Celsius to Fahrenheit was working well.
Yes. Yeah. I'm going to assume that it's just the fact that this is being computed. It's going to multiply it by 5 and then divide it by 9, which is not what I wanted.
I wanted to introduce the debugging tools later because that's more interesting to us.
Yeah, honestly, I wanted to have kind of a whole talk because this particular online compiler that we're using, online GDB, is very familiar. Oops, I typed it in lowercase. It's very familiar to a. Yeah, it's still the same. All right, I'm going to shelve that for now. Sorry, guys. The GDB is a classic C compiler, and it's something that I used a lot when I was in school. But yeah, sorry. Just for the sake of time, I don't think I could finish debugging in front of everyone. But did anyone have any questions?
Okay. Do you have any questions?
Hugh, if you did as well. Free.
Can I see that function again? Where you
yeah, if you can fix it for me, actually, that would be great.
Nope. Why don't you just print F the vowel, maybe? I don't know. And how about printing out the after line 44?
Oh, you want to see it in Celsius? Actually, the reason that I did this was so that I wouldn't have to insert a printf.
So it's debugging. Okay.
So when I am here, oh yeah, I left this point here. Just continue. I'm going to put in 85 again. Here, the program stopped right before it did this line. So if you'll see here, we have our list of local variables. We have val. Oh, interesting. Val is 0, even though I just told it to divide 5 by 9.
You're using slash, right? Is it appropriate operator?
Yes.
Yes.
Celsius has not been. I didn't initialize it to anything, so it was just whatever garbage data was in there before, which is why it's this random each thing. Once I do this line, I'm gonna press step over to do that. You'll see that it got set to 53, which is, I typed in 85, right? So 85 minus 32 is 53. Try here then, just real quick. I'm going to...
That's the problem.
Let's see. Hopefully that's it. That's the reason why it's being set to 0. And then going to step over. Celsius is 53 times that. All right, there we go. Cool. All right, so you guys just witnessed a live debugging session. Nice pointing out, Hugh. That was pretty good. So yeah, let's just continue running this program. I don't need that anymore. I'll go ahead and stop it and then run it again so that you can see it without the debugging tools. So here we go. This gets converted. Now, if it were nicer, I would clean up this wording to be a bit better, but I think we're already running a bit over time. So, did anyone have any other questions?
Is it solved?
Yes.
So,
then 85 degrees Fahrenheit is 29.44 degrees Celsius.
Okay. You should have shown your happiness after completion of debugging.
Oh no, I did. I was congratulating you for helping me.
So, well, we would like to know what was the cause and then how to solve the issue, like step by step. Can you do that?
Sure. So I'll go ahead and clean my debugging points, right?
What was the problem
here?
First of all,
right here. I'll go ahead and remove this. I'll show you what happened. This is actually really simple. I'm kind of upset that I didn't catch this. I want to put in the same input just to keep things easy. Okay, so again, at this breakpoint, the program stops its execution right before this statement is executed. So at this point, all we have is that we have these two variables, and because I didn't initialize them with anything yet, there's just trash. There's random garbage values inside. After I execute this step, which in GDB you can do by pressing step over, so you can see it's now at this line. You see that val is at the value of 0. I didn't want that. The reason is that here, what's being done is that it's asking what's 5 divided by 9 and not keeping a remainder. It's just saying, oh, okay, 5 divided by 9 is 0, which is not what I wanted. The fix that Hugh and I spotted is when you cast it to double, that casting where you say the type inside of these parentheses, like he showed during the presentation. Get back to here. You see me step over, watch Celsius here, or sorry, val. It's going to get this value, 0.555555, and which is the correct thing when you do 5 divided by 9. This is the actual result. And then at that point, the previous issue was why we were seeing 0 was because here I was doing Celsius times val, and val had 0 because of the mistake here. So now that it is appropriately holding a value, let's step over there. Watch what Celsius is. It's going to become the correct value.
What was...
Actually, now that I think about it, I'm not sure why my initial thing was wrong. I thought that I was casting to double properly.
Okay. What was the double in the parenthesis right before 5/9?
It is a cast. Yeah, I was doing that here. I'm so confused. Oh, maybe I needed to put a parentheses around here. Like this. Oh, that's fine. We were able to show off a debugging process, so it actually ended up being a good thing. Yes, so this is a cast. What it's saying is this value to the right, treat it as this thing instead. It's because the compiler would say, oh, okay, that's an int. And because ints don't have a decimal value, it was just to get ignored. But because we're saying, oh, treat it as a double, now it's going to keep the value after the decimal point. Hopefully that makes sense to you.
Okay. Wasn't Hugh saying something?
Oh no, I was just saying that if you just change the 5 to 5.0 and change to 9 to 9.0, that will be okay too. So,
yes, that is also a good point. Actually, that's the reason that I changed this. Instead of saying 9 divided by 5, I just used the decimal. What happens is if one of these numbers is a double, or I guess it'd be a float, but if it's a floating point value, either the 5 or the 9 or both, doesn't really matter, then what would happen is that we would still get the same result, because the compiler will see a double, or it'll see a floating point value divided by an integer, and it'll take the one with more precision. Since the floating point value has more precision, it'll create a double.
Oh,
yeah,
that's C is very strict in grammar, because you have to let the compiler know that the 5 is actually floating value, which is type is double, by typing 0 dot and 0. That's necessary.
Yes, so either this way or this way, it's both the same.
Okay.
Yeah, thanks for those questions. That's pretty good. Did anyone have any other questions?
Any questions?
I think
No.
I'm assuming so, because you can type 0.0 after the 5, you can do this with the 9 either?
Yes, yeah. So if it was like this, or if it was like this, or if it was like this, all three would be okay.
It should have at least one of the values as a double type, not as an integer.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay, Reik. Can I ask you something? Because there's one new participant. Can you kindly kind of follow the flow of the code so that we can see what's going on line by line? Okay.
Yeah. So this is just a really simple program. All it's doing is it's converting. It's converting a value that we give it from Fahrenheit to Celsius. I should say, or Celsius to Fahrenheit, which uses these two formulas. All I did here was I created these two functions. It's just those two exact formulas being used down here. And then the main program is we ask the user for a letter, either F or C, to say that the next number that we're typing in is going to be in that degrees. Then we ask them to give us the actual number. We store those two values, and then based on what they gave us, if it was an F or if it was a C, we would call that appropriate function and then print the results. Yeah. Oh, I guess I did just for fun. Let's see if I gave something else completely different, right? So this is that last else, showing that we didn't type in F or C and that we made a mistake. So yeah, that was pretty much it. I would like to have shown something a little bit more complicated but hopefully interesting, but I'm afraid that just with what we know for right now, just the information that we have to work with, it could only really be something of about this much. But hopefully you learned at least one new thing. Yeah, Koki?
That was awesome. That's awesome. All right. Then can we move on to the ending?
Yeah.
All right. Then please look at my screen. The screen I'm sharing, not the screen sharing, the video of me. Please click on me. Please click on my icon. Everyone, if you have any trouble, you can let me know. And if you see ending, that's my screen. If you see ending, that's my screen. Please click on me and look at ending. Okay. All right. Then thank you, Hugh and Reik, for introducing the C, and thank you for bringing us some excitement by showing debugging. So it's debugging at the beginning is like, oh my god, this is horrible. You know, the panic. It causes panic sometimes, but actually that's as you start analyzing it, that you see something, you learn something new. So we could learn deeply about the floating point by seeing the debugging. So thank you so much, Reik. Thank you. All right, now we are going to end. That's all for DCH Live, and then let me introduce some of the things about DCH Live today. So now we welcome those who want to talk on DCH Live. So you can talk about anything related to technology, not only coding, but the things things that you are interested in. For example, like technology related to the cars, automated devices, and IoTs. And of course, the programming language is welcome too, like Python, whatever the language. If you want to introduce something that makes you excited, then please share the knowledge. We'll welcome all the things. And then if you are worried about your English and the way to make slides, and we support fully, like we have many engineers in this Discord server, so you can improve your English skills by consulting that to us. All right, so please contact me if you want to try talking on DCH Live. All right, then the next slide, I would like to announce the sub event attached to this event. So I'm going to explain the things that happened today in Japanese for Japanese users. So we're going to have the next meeting at 7 a.m. On March 5th, Saturday. And this is GTM plus 8 or 9, maybe 9. Yeah, 9. So global time zone at plus 9. Okay. So let me talk in Japanese a little bit. So DCH Live 英語解説を3月5日土曜日の7時からやります。日本時刻ですね。で、レクチャールームにて行いますので来てください。So if you're interested in Japanese, you can come over and learn a bit of Japanese too. In lecture room, the voice channel called lecture room in Discord server. Okay, Okay. So that's all for today's DCH Live. Thank you so much for coming today, and we were very excited to see all the things. And thank you again, Hugh and Reik, and thank you for everyone for coming here.